Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the D-Line, soon to be everyone's favorite football podcast. My name is Malibongo Mdletshe. With me to speak football today, we've got Mhlali Balega, our top independent football scribe, and then Herman Gibbs, the legend himself, and he will give us those pearls of wisdom as far as the Soweto Derby is concerned. I was reading one of his posts saying it's the 184th edition of the Soweto Derby, this one. So, gentlemen, good day and welcome to the big preview of the big South African derby.
Yes, no doubt. This is the time when South Africa will come to a standstill. And you'll either be wearing black and gold or black and white. I'm not sure where you guys are, but thankfully I'm not in Gauteng. So I won't be part of that, but I'll be keeping an eye on the television.
No.
But Mr. Gibbs, you are I don't know, you are defying yourself. You are saying people must wear black and gold or black and white, and yet you are gracing us with red today. Is that for the danger that we'll be seeing at FNB tomorrow?
As a member of the media, I'm expected to be neutral. And I must not only say that, I must prove it in word and deed. Hence I'm in red.
Oh, well,
Oh, yes.
he's choosing a reference color there. Maybe he's trying to tell us something that the man in the middle will be the man of the match. We'll see.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, but no, yeah, good to be back after my absence from last week, gents, and yeah,
Yeah.
what a spectacle of football that we're looking ahead at FNP Stadium on Saturday.
Yeah, you deserted last week, but I was lucky to be in a company of legends, so we really didn't miss you. I didn't miss you. But anyways, let's look at it, guys. Starting with, we've got a big one, Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. We've been talking about this one. First derby of the season, very much anticipated. It's been a long time, or been a long while since we've had the two Soweto Giants in contention of the league title. Well, Kaizer Chiefs are still in contention, even though they are 8 points behind Pirates. But looking at that one, Jens, it's already a sold out affair. Let's start with your predictions, Jens. It's the simplest start. Let's start with the heavy stuff. What do you predict is going to go down there at FNP?
Yeah, look, it's hard to believe that we're already in March in the season, and this will be the first Soweto Derby of the season. They last played in May last year with the Nedbank Cup final, when the Chiefs won the trophy for the first time in a decade. Unheard of. And the man that guided them to the trophy is no longer there. And in his place is now two assistants. They're not doing too well. Chiefs goes into this match with back-to-back defeats, starting in Egypt and then Stellenbosch at home. So when it comes to Soweto derbies, form goes out by the window. So whichever team is stronger mentally on the day, that is the team that's going to come through. And I noticed that one coach of Kaizer Chiefs, Cedric Kaze, he said that they're putting a lot of emphasis on working on the minds of the players this week. Because I think in terms of playing wise, Pirates probably have the better players. They've had the better results. They've got the long position to prove that. But mentally, it's another thing on Saturday, and I think even though Chiefs are the underdogs, I'm going to put my money on Chiefs.
Okay, and there's a reason why I'm starting with the heavy stuff. That's Mr. Gibbs.
No,
And they're
hey,
Michali.
hey, Mr. Gibbs, you are
Yeah,
shooting from the hip, eh?
there's a
No,
reason
I
why
mean,
I'm
like,
saying
I
we
think
start with
it's,
the heavy stuff. Yeah.
yeah, but I think, like Mr. Gibbs has rightfully pointed out that, form, usually counts nothing when it comes to the derby. And we've seen in previous matches where actually, a team that was believed to be the underdog actually coming out to actually get the much needed result. You'll remember also what happened in the Nedbank Cup, which is going there having not won a trophy in 10 years, like Mr. Gibbs has already alluded. But in the end, they were victorious and also in regulation time. So I'm looking at this match though with a different lens. I believe that no Pirates have been, on the high since the start of the season. Sure, they lost their last two games against Sundowns and Kansas Stars, but for them now, it's actually just maybe fine tuning and also going back to what is it that they did when they actually lost their first two league games. And if they actually have the right plan on the day, the right structure, and also the right element of surprise, because we've seen with them actually being either it's about Moremi on the day, and also in Apolis, Relem Fukeng, or someone else that was not thought to be have that BMT actually come up and actually win the game for them. So to be honest, I'm still undecided, but if I were to go with my gut feeling for now, I would say that this one will go to Paris.
Okay, thanks. It's a good thing that we understand now that we're on a we're on different ground. One is left, one is right. I'll remain as a referee. Now let's come back to it. It's often said that the Soweto Derby is not kind to to debutant coaches. Owadu is going to be playing his first derby, and the two wise men will be playing their first derby as co-head coaches, even though they've been involved in the derby, as Mr. Gibbs alluded, as Nabi's assistants. I mean, where do we? I mean, of course, his football is not played by history, but it's a different atmosphere to be there. And for Wadu, it's going to be his first. I mean, from the coaching's perspective, how much pressure does he carry? He's already lost to Pirates, and I mean to Sundowns. So he's already lost to Sundowns. And if you're going to win the league, I mean, you must beat the big boys who are competing with you. So how much pressure is there on Wadu for this one?
Look, there can be no denying there is tremendous pressure like never before. Just give you an idea, Cardoso said there was more pressure on him for the Pirates match than the match against MCL in the Champions League. So that tells you how big the situation is in South African football. What I like about Odu was that he said that he told his players to go out there and enjoy the game. Now, that is quite a thing to be saying when you're playing a Soweto Derby, because winning is everything. It's more than bragging rights now. It verges on the matter of life and death in the townships, and families will be broken up depending on the results and things like that. But I like that attitude, and I think if the players can really relax and enjoy their game, then I think they can produce a result. So my money is on Adu producing the result and coming out as a debutant coach on a winning note.
How, Mr. Gibbs?
No, I understand why you're saying that, but no, Michelle, I understand why you're saying how, Mr. Gibbs. Let's hear your side. Talking about the pressure on Coach White on this one, his debut and Soweto Derby.
I think, of course, he has certainly been part of a lot of derbies before. I think as a coach and as a player, having played most of his career and coaching some parts of, having played most of his career in Europe and played obviously and coach here in Africa. Sorry, but yeah, I think with him going to this one, he's under pressure, right? But it's also, it's also a matter of can he actually sustain the pressure and actually come out victorious. That's what is important. And given the dynasty of his team, having shown that they're able to rise to big occasions, they were in 2 finals last season and they won both. So this match is more or less like a cup final, which they actually have to go out there and contest for. So it would be very important for them to actually say that, in as much as he was actually encouraging them to actually enjoy the game, but he did say that it is important for them to have the right mindset and not to play the game before the actual game starts, which is actually important for any sort of talent. It's just that I think it's the atmosphere that would greet him at FNB that would probably be different to whatever that is experienced before, given that it would be a sold-out affair. And also, there won't be a segregation of fans, as Chiefs and Paris fans tends to stand at one place. So yeah, I think I've already said that I think it's got what it takes to actually, guide his team to the promised land and obviously a victory. Of course, it is very important for them to win, especially with Sundowns now slowly but surely picking up momentum in the league.
Yes. And then talking about Sundowns, which result do you? I mean, as a Sundowns, would you want a Chiefs win, a draw? Which result would best suit Sundowns? Well, in this case.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get that question.
I was talking about, as Michal is mentioning, Sundowns. Which result will Sundowns be hoping for? Would you say a Chiefs win or a draw on this one?
Who is that, me or Michali?
Yeah, no, I think if I have to go first, I think if you are Sundowns at this moment, you look at that, a win for neither side. Actually, I think a draw could actually be better because Pirates will just go above them with 1 point, whereas they still got a game to play on Sunday. Whereas if Chiefs lose, it wouldn't be much. If Chiefs win, sorry, it wouldn't be much of a stretch, strange match either, because then they will still be 5 points behind them, whereas they will still have that game that they need to play against Fulham United. So anything but, a win for Paris would actually, work in Sundowns' favor for now, I think.
Yeah. All right. No, it's cool. It's cool with that one. But then another thing is that the expectation that is there. I mean, we are putting so much on it. It's the first time of the season, the first time in a long time the two teams are actually chasing each other for the league. We've also seen a shortage of goals when it comes to Soweto derbies. I think in recent times, I remember the other one. But especially during it's been more than 10 years, in fact, when we had more goals as desired. Most derbies will go with draws. Of course, during the Spanish coaches' time at Pirates, they dominated the Soweto derbies. I mean, can we expect goals on this one?
Yeah, look on the last 13. In the last 13 Soweto derbies, a record show that they've never scored more than 1 goal in a match. That's an incredible record. And I think it's going to be the case again. I look at the way things are going now. If I must deviate from the Soweto derby, for example, on during
James, are you still there? What the heck happened? We just lost connectivity. Why is this thing kicking me out? What was it then? This laptop is kicking me out. There you go.
the matches.
Yeah. Apologies, guys. I'm not sure what happened there. My machine just kicked me off the
often that
Wi-Fi.
happens. So I don't think we're gonna see more than 1 goal in the match tomorrow. Whoever scores first, I think is gonna be the winner.
And then, Mr. Gibbs, you are going to what Mihlali has been saying in his writing throughout the week. I remember I read his article about Zitakunega talking about the great Ferguson saying defenders win you, tacklers why strikers win you matches. Is that the case, Mihlali, this one again?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the defensive structure of both teams is going to be very important. I think like Mr. Gibbs has alluded that both teams have actually struggled to score in their last few games, and that is why they are on the back of actually back-to-back defeats. But yeah, the defense needs to come to the party by ensuring that if they don't win the game, they at least keep clean sheets. We've seen how impressive both Brendan Peterson together with Sipo Chine have been. I think Sipo is on 12 goals in 17 matches in the league, whereas Braden is on 11 clean sheets in 16 games. So it's important for them to actually continue with that momentum, especially in the league. Because also another important factor for them to actually keep clean sheets, Coach Hugo Bruce in the next 2 months is actually expected to call up his final squad for those 2 friendlies against Panama in Cape Town and in Durban. So with also Brandon Peterson not in the mix, I think he'll want to perform well in the derby to make sure that he raises his chances of becoming a third fiddle behind Ronald Williams together with Sipo Chine and that Bafana squad. So with the defense really having been solid for both clubs, and with the strikers struggling to actually score goals and be effective, I think this one will be decided by the most effective defense as such. That's why I think that if a team scores first, it will be a struggle for the other to actually maybe probably equalize and get as many goals as possible in the game. Even though I must allude that Pirates are on a bit of good spirit at the moment, because Evidence Mahoba, who's been out injured for the last 3 weeks, is actually not back and available for selection.
And then, okay, cool. That's the thing now. You were talking about goalkeepers being on top form, defenders being clinical. Then why the excitement? Why the excitement?
I suppose that you don't want to you don't want to get overly excited, but you have to weigh up the fact that maybe someone who's not been part of that action for quite some time can actually come in and change things. Because Evidence, to be honest, loves being against Chiefs. You will remember that in the Nedbank Cup final last year, he was the one that actually scored the equalizer after Chiefs went ahead with Gaston Serrano's penalty. And then obviously in the derby that they won 2-1, if I'm not mistaken, he was the one that also scored, the goal there for Pirates. So he's got back-to-back goals in the Soweto Derby. So if he's available tomorrow, then who knows? He might, make it three goals in a row. So we cannot run away from that factor.
Okay, cool.
But then again, since the defense continue to be strong as they've been before conceding, I think in the last 4 games, then it's another story altogether.
Yeah. And cool. We talk about defenders and goalkeepers being on top form. Okay, that's good. That's good for them. And I'm sure Hugo Bruce will be sitting there with the selection team or his technical team, ticking and looking at who's making the squad and who's getting in the preliminary squad. The auditions, though, will also be there on the field, especially the midfield, which is a very, very, very congested, where most of the talent is. I mean, Pirates already, you've got a guy like Sipombule sitting out. He will be looking to get a run there. You've got Masonga, who's also coming back. We've seen that Atazwa has come back for Sundowns. I think probably that will be the most contested terrain as midfield is concerned.
Yeah, definitely the midfield, that's the engine room of your team. It's important to boss that area. If you don't boss that area, it changes your whole game plan, because then you have to change the game plan so that you can bypass the opposition midfield to get to your front runners. But I like the way Tito Patrick Masangani is improving. And I hope that he's given a decent run, because I think he's got a lot to offer. I think if he shines, it will also allow Relly to come into his own. I think he's battling a bit with his new position of playing in a 10, where he's given a free rein. He's got a lot to offer. And I think if the two of them click, Chiefs are in very, very big trouble, because Chiefs' midfield has been a problem all along. Gaston Serrano hasn't been consistent. He's shown flashes at times, and I can't even see him making the starting 11 on Saturday. Vishali?
Yeah, no, I think it's obviously, like you've already alluded to, Mr. Gibbs. I think also if Tito gets back to form and probably picks up momentum, I think he's putting up a strong contention to return to Bafana Bafana as well, especially given the fact that since the start of the year, Sipombule has been ineffective. Not only has it been not playing, he's not been part of the matchday squad, including the last one for that matter. So even if he's not part of the derby tomorrow, which I forcibly see unlikely as well, it won't come as. But with Chiefs, got an answer to midfielder. We've seen the rips and reps with individuals. For instance, I think the Mabo has been superb since the start of the year. He's gained form, he's gained fitness, and he's done well. But he cannot do it alone. We saw Ethan Chislet get his first appearance in the colours of a gold and black of Kaizer Chiefs, and he did well to impress. But is he ready to play in such a big game, such as the derby? I don't think so. I don't think that he's even ready to make a cameo as well, because it will be a game of high demands. And when you need players that you've seen in a long stretch, especially in competitive football. So if Chiefs really do not get stability in the engine room, and if Pirates are on form with the return of also Talent Mbata, who's expected to partner Maketleni Makaula, and then you've got Pedro Masongani, Relem Fukwen, also Napolis, Tsebang Moremi, it will be really a chaotic day for former Coast and defense, because they need to keep all the balance and on all the setup. And also you must understand that their defensive structure has been unsettled as well, because Inacio Miguel hasn't been playing for quite some time due to injury, whereas as Aiden McCarthy only returned when they lost to Stellenbosch, because he was out due to suspension against Zamalek. Whereas the right back as well, there's been no changes. It's either Dylan Solomon today, then the other day is Tabiso Munyane. You're not quite certain. And going at left back, the same story. It's either Paseka Marco or Eden McCarthy is actually pushed down, to the wide short channel. So there's been a lot of uncertainty as to what is going to happen. But it has only been, I think, the brilliance of Braden Peterson that has made sure that up to now they are still in the Betway Premiership title race.
So, all in all, so the referring Peterson, as you say, will be under attack, will be working overtime. That's what I'm picking up from what you're saying there. But cool. I mean, there's a lot we can say about the derby as well. But the interesting stuff is that this weekend, it's actually it's a very big weekend because Sundowns themselves on Sunday are playing third place Kukuna United. That's another the top of the shelf fixture there. Which side is that one going?
Look, I think Cardozo is a very worried man. He's so worried that he's not going to watch anything of the match on Saturday. He says he's got too much to do to prepare. Something wrong with you.
You'll be missing out. If
you're the coach of a Premiership team, but you can't watch the Soweto Derby. So he says, no, there's too much to do. It's just another match. He can't be bothered about what's going on there. There's too much to do.
Lying, though, Mr. Gibbs,
his main concern is that the fans will come and support, because he's very, very upset on Tuesday night when the team was playing against AmaZulu. While they were warming up, the fans were booing his players, and he couldn't believe what's happening. And he thinks that some of that booing might come back to Loftus when they play there on Sunday. So he's appealed to them, please don't do that. The players are working very hard. They're trying their best. He said he can stand the booing, but not his players. So that's another thing. So that just shows the level of his concern for the match. I think Sakuni is showing good form now. As Eric Tinkler is saying, they're not where they are yet. He feels they could be doing much better. They're not effective in front of the opposition goals, and he feels that they're not doing enough in the final third because of indecision. So I think we can expect a tough match, and if Sundowns enjoy 75% possession, but against an opponent, and they can only score 6 minutes from the end, that tells you there's something drastically wrong with that team. So don't be surprised if Sakunya comes out there 1-0 winners against Sundowns.
Yeah, okay, that's a big one. I mean, I think Cardoso at this stage, I think he thrives under pressure. He's putting himself under pressure all the time. He won against Archers, he won against Pirates. Well, he was beaten in the Nedbank Cup, but I mean, things are looking up for him. So a chance to actually stretch the cap at the top.
But he lost to TS Galaxy. Why are we running away from that? Because with the Sundowns team, I believe that they should be able to compete, across board, be it that they change their starting lineup or not. Because they've got players that when you look at, I think you believe that, they can go into any team, including Chiefs and Pirates, and actually claim a starting bed. So, yeah, it was a hiccup that they got against TS Galaxy. Maybe good riddance for that matter, because they need all the form and the momentum when it goes to the league and the Champions League. The Champions League,
you just said Sundowns is expected to compete on all fronts, so there's no good riddance there, and it's the only.
I suppose, but then, I mean, you cannot do it. You understand? But I mean, these are just their bread and butter, especially the Champions League. What I'm trying to get to is that you need your total focus on those two. So, both in as much as sometimes you would say that you are resting players, but you need them to have the form, you have to need them to have the momentum that will actually make it a point that they have the synergy and the camaraderie when they go to these big matches. So like now focusing on the league where they've done impressively well to say, and also the Champions League where they're in the quarterfinal, they've actually make it a point that now their focus is actually straight and narrow. They don't have a lot of things, even though, like as I'm saying, that they're expected to actually challenge for even domestic cup competitions. But yeah, kudos to Cardoso. Let's see what they will do when they actually host Kukun United. But I hear Mr. Gibbs saying that Sekhukhune, could come out as victorious, which is not far off, because Eric Tinkler made a bold statement during the Nedbank Cup press conference saying that matter they'll have a strong say in where the league goes. So yeah, if you go to Pirates or Naturena or Clockop, it waits to be seen. But it's going to be a very interesting game between Sekhukhune United and Sundowns. And who knows if Rail is going up to the task, to the challenge, they might one pass
Right, we are.
Sundowns, because even the last game,
We're having a small little cup there, Michelle. I think your connectivity is telling us that we should end it. I mean, we can speak and speak. Bottom line is that all eyes to the derby this weekend. Of course, there are other matches, league matches, and then we saw Bafana Bafana. I mean, not Bafana Bafana, especially you could post there. Was coming from to assess the situation in Mexico. So hopefully he will find things in order as much as the matches are concerned this weekend. Gentlemen, I think let's end it. Your final words as much as this big weekend is concerned as we close it.
Gentlemen, I hope that my colleagues, I know Michele and Samiso, will be in full force at the FNB Stadium. I hope that they stick to the press box and not run on the ground. If something goes wrong with the match decisions, that they contain themselves. Because as Mark Gleason said, if you want, to the media now, he said, if you want to be a supporter, buy a ticket. So I'm just appealing to Michele and Samiso, please to contain themselves and remain in the press box and not run into the ground if the referee makes a bad decision.
You see, now you just chased Michele away. Anyways, like Mr. Kim is saying, our top scribes, Michele Smith, and I believe Matsilani will be there giving us all the action that will be coming from the Soweto Derby. So do tune in on the Clash on our YouTube channel. And those guys, Michele should be here to share his handles as well, as much as the socials are concerned. But well, Michele in absentia now. Mr. Gibbs, gentlemen, thank you for your time. May the best team win.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful.
All the time,
This
Mr. Gibbs.
is one of the last times that now our contracts are coming to an end. So very soon it will be a